Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's kind of like, even if you do pull back, like just career advice in general, show up. That's like it with like my speaking career, pretty much very similar path. I was angry about what was the trend at the time? Skeuomorphic and flat design. And then my friends at work said, "Oh, you're just jealous because you're not famous." And I wrote a letter to Net Magazine, like the web design magazine, and the
Yep.
editor goes, "Oh, that's really interesting. You should write about this." And that was the path that led me to speaking and where I am now. So
Yeah.
just showing up.
Well, and I think that there's something really to be said for remembering that if one person, so again, I'm stealing more from Mandy. I hope she appreciates how much she means to me in that manner. Um, that if one person walks away from what you wrote,
Yeah,
having solved that, helping them solve a problem, then that's a successful endeavor. And all of these things are just steps toward helping more people do stuff. I started from reading Lynchpin by Seth Godin back in like 2007, and the whole premise being just focus on giving away what you know, make yourself indispensable, and 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 things come from that. And it's not like the secret recipe for world domination. It's just about the more you learn and the more you teach people, and this is the way I've always phrased it is people hire the teacher, not the textbook. So
yeah,
my whole my newsletter was basically my attempt to rewrite my book in a format that I own. It's not, the copyright isn't held by any publishing company, but it's all there for free. And then people will look at that and say, "Hey, could you help us implement that?" And that's
yeah.
worked, and I'm happy with that.
That's excellent.
Because I, um,
Jason, with that newsletter format, real quick, how do you take something complicated and make it so simple? Because I just feel like web
have
typography,
I?
there's um, I feel like from the my small sample size, I feel like you do, and like that's one of the benefits that I think why you stand out as a conference speaker and a writer is that you're able to take something that's inherently complex, break it down so a junior UX designer or graphic designer or someone that's interested can kind of understand it. Is there any approaches you have, or is it kind of just like you've been in the industry for a while and that's it?
Um, no, I don't think there's anything magic about it. I mean, some people are more naturally inclined to teach or to write or to speak or whatever. But I think everybody everybody learns stuff, and I think the only secret or the trick, if there is one, is to focus in on a small piece that you can cover completely. And that's what I've tried to do with the newsletter. I started out, the first couple things that I was writing in there was like, how do you do a drop cap? How do you? Um, I mean, it was I really focused in on a small thing, like one thing, and can I give a little bit of background about why you might do this, and and how would you do it, and then explain the code and kind of the concepts behind it, and and then it just sort of like built from there, and I was just really trying to push my own knowledge of traditional typography because it's always been an interest, but it was never something that like the program that I was in college was fairly limited. It was a small state school, so there were no like three courses in typography. It was sort of covered a little bit in the first semester, and that was pretty much it. So it was something I was interested in, but not something I had a lot of formal understanding of. So I would use this as an opportunity to look at books, read articles, look for examples, and and then try and relate this given technique that I found in a book or found in a poster, or a graphic design annual or a record cover or whatever, and then and say like, okay, well, how might I do something like that? And so that's that. The newsletter was, and I'm like so behind in writing that. I can talk a little bit more about why, but um, that's that's what I've really wanted to do, and that kind of grew into the Moby Dick jokes. Um,
The
what I
whale.
did in the last number of issues of that is I've been working on typesetting Moby Dick, and in doing that, really trying to bring all of the techniques that I've focused on in variable fonts, in responsive typography, um, in interesting UI things and accessibility things, and bring that together into a single interface, and then push that a little further and try and rethink how a book might work,
Yeah.
and what might a good reading experience be on a digital device, because I don't think anyone has really made a particularly transformative one yet,
Yeah.
and I think